for me to come here and see that a lot of people just kind of view it as like a decoration for really nice clubs orเครื่องประดับสำหรับชีวิตไฮโซ It's like that's not what it's like
เล่าประวัติตัวเองคร่าวๆเรียนที่ไหนเรียนกับใครบ้างอะไรเงี้ย
ที่หมายถึงว่าที่UNCใช่ไหม
ใช่ใช่ใช่
โอเคที่UNCเรียนกับอาจารย์เคริมาแล้วก็อาจารย์จูเลียดอริสันแค่ครั้งเดียวถ้าเป็นเมเจอร์เรียนกับสตีฟ
เคอรี่มาชเล่นกับใครบ้าง
เคริมาเล่นกับใครบ้างเล่นกับแพทแมตตินี่ เล่นกับเบนโฟทำโคราชให้เบนโฟด้วยก็จริงๆหลายคนแต่แพทแมตตินี่ก็ดังสุดจูเลียมาริเอชไนเดอร์ก็หลายคนด้วยนะเป็นมอนเดอร์
ว้าว
ใช่คนที่เล่นสำหรับอัลบั้มจูเลียออสตาร์เลย
คิดว่าคนไทยสู้ฝรั่งได้ไหม
แล้วแต่เรื่องนะฝีมือดนตรี
สู้ได้ไหมเทียบได้ไหม
ผมคิดว่าat first I was really impressed by how freely Sunny Trio can play in any situation and still have the ability to make lots of people happy. But one thing I found is a lot of people, they kind of put their creativity to the side to please audiences. And that, I think, is probably the one thing that is holding the scene back.
มีอะไรบ้างที่แตกต่างกับที่จูเลียนเรียนมา
Back at home, we did a lot of fundamental stuff. Lots and lots of fundamentals. And some people would think like, oh Jim, oh Steve, you guys are just traditionalists. You don't want stuff to move forward and everything like that. It's like, well, here's the thing. If you want to know what's happening now, you have to go through what happened back then. And I think, it depends on the teacher. It depends on the interest of the teacher. But some people kind of like skip over that and want to get to like what's new. And there's a lot of, it also depends on the school too. I've met some students that can really, really like swing their butts off and also do the modern thing really, really well. Over there, jazz history was such a huge, huge important thing where, if you know who but you don't know why, that's a problem. You'll get called on it pretty quick. Like if you don't know what's going on, if you don't know anything about what you're playing, and there's a lot of people, I guess everywhere, it's not just a Thai problem, but there's a lot of people that play that don't really know the history of the people that composed that music or played that music.
คิดว่าควรปรับปรุงอะไรบ้าง
I think that this city needs more places for musicians to play what they want. It's not just us that's playing, like we have to have people that come listen too. And right now, listening is very much about pleasing. A lot of audiences want to be pleased. One thing that people don't recognize about the history of jazz here is that they don't understand the relationship between jazz and racism. As in like blues, jazz, music that came from black people. When it was played at first, it was played only so that people could tell their story. So that people could express something that was inside in a deeper way. And that took on many, many forms. And people fought for that. People, got turned away from clubs. People heard stuff like, we don't want to hear that music. We're not going to release that music. Nobody wants to hear that stuff. And so for people to fight that hard for the right to play this music and to keep creating it, for me to come here and see that a lot of people just kind of view it as like a decoration for really nice clubs or เครื่องประดับสำหรับชีวิตไฮโซ It's like that's not what it's like. That's not the vibe, man. It's like people in my family fought really hard for the right to play this music. So to see that people are using it just like a painting on the wall, to see that a lot of musicians are treating it like a painting on the wall and not really giving it the respect and at least the honesty that it deserves.
Appreciation.
Right. And then people are kind of bending toward the audience constantly. Like I've started to say no to certain places and opportunities if I know that that's what it's going to be like. Because even if we do standards, even if we just only do standards and well-known standards, there's an energy that has to come to that. That's not just I'm here to please people that are waiting for me to sing Carpenter songs. And there's nothing wrong with the Carpenters, man. There's nothing wrong at all. But to play this music, I think requires honesty more than anything. And I think audiences are not requiring musicians to be honest here. And in return, a lot of musicians are not holding themselves to the standard of playing honestly and creating new things and being unafraid of offending people or being unafraid of like not being liked. You know, image is so big here, but it's like, when did image ever matter that much in jazz? It was all about feeling. Nina Simone's a great example. It's like, she wasn't really concerned about image, where a lot of people were like, you need to smile more and you need to wear these kinds of things, and she's like, I'm here for the music, and that's it. And there are a lot of people like that. So it's not just like a hot person's activity.
Right.
I've been to a lot of places here where jazz is like music from hot people for hot people. And it's like, you gotta have the look, and if you play bass, it's gotta be upright just for the look. You know, or even if you just bring an upright bass to a gig and play pop, it's like, people are like, yeah, it's jazz. And if you're wearing a suit, it's jazz, but that's not what this means.
มีอะไรอยากฝากถึงเด็กรุ่นใหม่ไหม
The main thing is, whatever you do, whether it's jazz, whether it's art, you know, like visual art, just do it honestly. Be intentional about it. And that doesn't mean, like, never play pop, never play things that just sell well. Some people happen to really like playing music that sells well. I like it, right? Some people happen to like creating music, and that music happens to sell really, really well for people and make masses very happy. People should not stop doing that. But what I'm saying is, people putting aside their creative ideas, their ambitions, and their dreams for this music, for whatever they want to create, for the sake of a bunch of people that are going to say it's just fan yai. It's like, don't put your creativity aside from that. And that could happen in any country. Just listening. And not for the intention of only copying, but listening so that you can understand the things that you connect with. Right? It's like, that's kind of the process, at least for me composing. Like, I never thought of myself as a composer, but then who was it? Mike Conrad showed me Kenny Wheeler's music for large and small ensembles, and Peter Eldridge, big shout out to Peter Eldridge, bass singer for the New York Voices. Like, I really loved what he was doing, and I got a chance to play one of his songs with him backstage for the festival. And after that, you know, we kept in touch, and I sent him some of my songs, and he wasn't the first person to say like, hey, you should check out Billy Strayhorn, you might like that. And then I got real deep into it, and that's where I started to discover the sounds that I like to make. But then after that, honesty, you know, kind of took my hand and started leading me, and it was like, okay, don't just live to be a copy of Billy Strayhorn, but understand that what he wrote really connects. That's the whole reason for listening. They've got to go deeper. Even if it's not jazz, like Bill Withers, what a tragic story of like the two songs that people ever play by Bill Withers here.
Ain't no sunshine.
Maybe Ain't No Sunshine. If anything, I hear Lovely Day or Just the Two of Us, which is Grover Washington Jr., but you know, it's like they're great songs, but way overlooked. I would say that he has other songs that are more famous than even those songs. And he's not the only artist that has that sort of thing. So it's like, if you like something, go all the way into it. I know a lot of people that listen a lot, but know a little. I'm a person where sometimes I feel like I listen a little, but the things that I'm listening to, like, I know everything about those songs. I know the chords and what every instrument is playing, you know, and the hits during the solo and that kind of stuff. And even if it's for 20 songs or 50 songs, like, I know those 50 songs really well, instead of like 1,200 songs a week that are just going, they're just coming and going in one ear and out the other.
School years.
Buddy.
มีผลงานอะไรอยากฝากไหม
อีก 4-5 ทีจะปล่อยซิงเกิลนะครับ So I would like to promote my album, my first album, which I released last year. It's called Heaven Indeed. It's 8 settings of poetry by the great American poet E.E. Cummings. That's this guy.
Cool.
It's such a special project for me, not only because it was the first one, but because it was something where I wasn't really thinking about anybody except my connection with the inspiration for it and the musicians I was playing with. And from that, I got something that was really soulful. And you know, sometimes you listen back to your stuff and you're like, man, this sucks. I wish I could have done this differently or that differently, but I wouldn't change a thing about this. It's so special. Unfortunately, this is the last physical copy on Earth, and it belongs to me. It has a lot of great original artwork by Allison Wheeler, a great friend Allison Wheeler, who's a killing singer, and I hope she releases everything for the world to hear. And then the cover art was all done by Lydia Cruz, a current Greeley resident who's cooking up bomb coffee at John Galt, which is a place that many of us have spent just hundreds of hours. Yeah, big community project based on all the people I know and love. Recorded by Greg Heimbecker at UNC, who's just great. He's the man. You're very familiar with with the sofa in the studio.
Yeah.
Sleeping on that for way too many days at a time. I hope everyone goes to find this. It's on iTunes, Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon Music. I don't really know how much people use that, but yeah, it's on those places. So.
Alright, thanks man
ขอบคุณมากครับ
ครับ